Hey guys, I'm collaborating with Welcome Collection and their exhibition, The Institute of Sexuality.
There's an institution that teaches you how to have sex? Maybe I should apply for it.
To talk to you about heteronormativity. What is heteronormativity, you might be asking? Well, the internet says it is the belief that people fall into distinct and complementary genders, man and woman, with natural roles in life. It asserts that heterosexuality is the only sexual orientation or only norm, and states that sexual and marital relations are most or only fitting between people of opposite sexes.
Now, to be completely honest, viewer, I have absolutely no idea why she thought it was a good idea to zoom past that definition as if it made sense to leave your audience in confusion as to what the bloody hell you're talking about. In fact, the only time that you would ever want to leave your audience confused as to what you're talking about is when you're about to manipulate them. However, I sense no urge or no desire from Hannah to manipulate people, so maybe I should just attribute this to straight stupidity. But anyway, to rectify Miss Hannah Winton's wrongs, I'm going to read out the definition of heteronormativity so we all understand what we're talking about. Heteronormativity is the belief that people fall into distinct and complementary genders, man and woman, with natural roles in life. It asserts that heterosexuality is the only sexual orientation or only norm, which it is, and states that sexual and marital relations are most or only fitting between people of opposite sexes. Now, I mean, sure, I can understand why you'd have a qualm with saying that heterosexuality is the only sexual orientation. However, to act or pretend as if the vast majority of not humans, but creatures that exist are heterosexual is completely absurd. Anyway, Hannah, you can keep talking.
Now, we all know better than that, but heteronormativity is not just a belief, it's an undocumented and institutionalized way of keeping marginalized groups of people marginalized and oppressed.
Is that fucking right? We're oppressing people because we make the reasonable assumption that they're heterosexual. My word, Hannah. My word. Go on, keep talking. I want to hear what else you have to say.
And you can see it everywhere.
No.
Even if you are a really good LGBTQ plus ally, you can still get trapped by it, which I know I do far too often.
You don't say, Hannah.
Example. Hey, so do you have a boyfriend? No. Woo! Single Pringle, ready to mingle. Oh, well, actually I have a girlfriend. Oh.
That's it? I mean, you just so happened to ask someone that was gay if they were in a relationship? Hell, if that's the case, I'm about to do you up one. So, you found yourself a nice lady? No. Alright, that's cool, you know, still living the single life. Well, my significant other does not identify on the binary. Now why the fuck did you just say that? You didn't ask.
If you're still confused, you should check out the BASSFZz comic. It was created by a group of 13 to 19-year-old trans people with the charity Gendered Intelligence in order to highlight different aspects of heteronormativity and relate it back to the Institute of Sexuality exhibition.
No, in all honesty, I checked out that comic book, and I'm not really 100% sure what point they're trying to make. In all honesty, I'm not even 100% sure if there's even a coherent plot. I mean, you know, points for them actually trying to be creative.
I love this comic because it features some historical figures that I studied at university and also trans superheroes who can time travel.
You know what I find to be a little strange, Hannah? Why is it okay for you to like transgendered superheroes? However, if I were to say that Static is my favorite superhero because he's a man, I'm sexist, huh? I mean, wouldn't it be equally as shallow for you to like a character for being transgendered as it would be for me to like a character for having a penis? I'm just saying, Hannah. Now, some people might say, well, maybe she likes him because they can time travel. If that was why she liked the character, that's what she would have said. She wouldn't have had to add the stipulation, transgendered, and they can time travel. I'm just saying, it sounds equally as shallow. And if it's not equally as shallow, if you're somehow going to tell me that me liking a character because he's a man makes me sexist, and you liking a transgendered hero makes you a progressive, I'm going to have to call bullshit on that.
So let's talk about different ways heteronormativity can work. First of all, gender roles. There's a certain set of words that someone says when you're born that hold a lot of power and can determine a lot about the way that you're treated in the future. It's a boy! It's a girl! And that's it. If you're a boy, you do boy things, you're masculine, and you fancy girls.
I just can only imagine why we would come up with something like that. It's not like the vast majority of organisms that we call boys or males do boy stuff, are masculine, and want to have sex with women. I just can only imagine, Hannah, how we arbitrarily came up with this system. Must be the patriarchy.
If you're a girl, you do girl things, you're feminine, and you fancy boys.
Just so wrong to assume that women are feminine. It's sexist to make that assumption, right? I mean, even though the vast majority of human females who have ever existed have been feminine and want to have sex with men, it is wrong to make that assumption because you hurt feelings. Is that what you're telling me, Hannah? Are you telling me that? Because if you are, I'm about to mock you with the intensity of 1,000 suns.
There's obviously nothing wrong with that, but...
Yeah, I know. I know there's nothing wrong with that. So if you are about to try to argue that there is anything wrong with making that reasonable assumption, be warned. I will mock you with the intensity of 1,000 suns.
The harmful thing is that it's assumed for everyone. In reality, we have no idea. It's a bloody baby. And
are you fucking kidding? Hannah, it's not gonna be a baby its whole life, Hannah. You don't have 20-year-old babies. You know what I mean? You know, how old is your child? Oh, 127 months? You fucking kidding me? Hannah, are you kidding me? Alright, we know the baby is going to grow up. And we as parents, or if we will become parents, have to prepare our children for how the world is. Not how we want the world to be. I want the world to be safe and have zero wars. I'm not going to raise my child up as if the world has never been in any war and keep that information from him. Come on. Come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
you may be thinking, well, actually, Hannah, we're a much more accepting society now.
Actually, I was thinking that this is completely fucking absurd.
True, but why do we still see blue toys for boys and pink toys for girls? Why?
My husband and I have 3 kids. We had 2 little girls, and I was shocked to see how my little girls liked dolls. I never liked dolls when I was a kid, but they liked to play with dolls, and they would set them up in little setups around dining tables with little fake food, and then we had our little boy. When Danny started to get old enough to play with toys, we didn't think to get him separate toys. We didn't think to buy him guns and stuff. So we didn't have that in the house. So he would take my daughter's dolls and shoot with them. He'd take a Barbie doll. He'd use it for his own aggressive purposes. Now we could have said to him, this is ridiculous. We don't want war toys in our house. We don't want anything like that. You can't use these dolls for that. Why don't you do a little kid setup? We could have negated his desire to be a boy. Instead, we realized, wait a minute, this is something innate. We didn't teach it to him. This is who he is.
Surely the competing views couldn't be more clearly stated than that.
Why are there different fashions, activities, interests, school subjects, career paths that are considered either masculine or feminine?
The answer to that question is far more simpler than you'd like it to be, Miss Whitten. It is because the vast majority of people who fit in X field are either men or either women. For example, we see construction as a mostly male orientation. Why? Because it's mostly men who are building buildings, while we see nursing as mostly feminine. Although, historically speaking, usually nurses used to be mostly males, but now, because there's mostly women, we see it as a feminine job position. Same thing with teachers. Teachers used to be mostly male. Now we see it as a feminine job position. The same way we would see, say, being a firefighter. Mostly men are firefighters. That's just the way it is. That's why. It's not rocket science.
Gender identity. This has to do with how you feel on the inside. Do you feel like a man, a woman, neither, both, somewhere else in between? Awesome. You do you. But unfortunately, that's not what heteronormativity is about.
No, it seems like that's exactly what heteronormativity is about. On having the reasonable expectation that a person who looks like this would identify as a man.
The common misconception is that penis equals man and vagina equals woman. The common misconception is that penis equals man and vagina equals woman. But there's so much more going on than that, and there's so much more to a person other than their genitals that makes them a man or a woman or whatever else. Also,
yes, Hannah, but hardly is there so much more that goes on. The only reason why we have these categories of male and female is to understand how reproduction works.
What's in between someone's legs is none of your business.
It is if you want to have sex with them. I mean, I know Jerry Springer kind of gets off with a bunch of trannies coming on and then saying, hey, I'm a man, or hey, I'm a woman. But I mean, it is kind of your business when you want to, I don't know, like reproduce with them. In the same way your genitals is their business. Because that's how sex works, unfortunately.
Sexuality. People who are LGBTQ+ come out in society because unless you do, you're assumed straight.
Hannah, when about 97% of all humans that have existed, that currently exist, and that will exist are heterosexual, it would actually be unreasonable to assume that some person you meet without any flamboyant indication is actually homosexual. It would actually be strange if we lived in a society where people thought the opposite.
Heterosexual is the default orientation. It's the norm.
It is. It is statistically the norm. The vast majority of human beings that exist, Hannah, are heterosexual. You exist as a human being because of heterosexual people. It's not strange to make that assumption.
That's stupid and that's stupid and that's stupid and unless someone tells us or gives us clear signs, we just assume that everyone is straight.
Hannah, let me ask you a question. Let's say me and you, we go to the zoo, right? We're at the zoo, okay? And we're hanging out, we're at the snake exhibit, okay? Now we look down the line, Hannah, and we have this one guy, he comes up, he says, hey, you want to see these? A cobra. He tells us what he says, these are all cobras. And they're cobras because they have hoods and they have venom. So you and I, Hannah, there's a line of 100 snakes. And we go down that line, Hannah. We go down the line and we see 98 snakes. We get to snake number 99, Hannah, and it comes up and it has a hood. So it's a cobra. Hannah, are you going to get to snake number 100? You're going to get to snake 100, Hannah. And then, when it comes up and its hood comes out, are you going to turn to me and then say, well, maybe it identifies as a rattlesnake?
Being LGBTQ+ is just as normal as being straight.
You know, Hannah, I applaud you and your friends for trying to make these people feel comfortable about themselves. However, I don't give a fuck about their feelings because I deal in reality. And the reality is, it's not. There is a vast minority of homosexual people. Now, if you mean by normal as in there's nothing wrong with it, okay, fine, you can hold that position. I don't care. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But if you're going to tell me that there is just as many homosexual people as heterosexual people, you can get that shit out of my house.
I can definitely see this kind of heteronormativity in my life because even though I grew up in a very liberal household, it was still heteronormative because my parents would ask me and my sister if there were any boys in school that we fancied. They would never ask about girls.
Now, viewer, bear with me now. Okay, now the other day, this running shit, I'm not making this up. This is real. So the other day, right? You know, I'm cruising on YouTube and I see this video. The video is titled My Sexuality. Now, the person who uploaded this video, her name is Savannah. I have responded to Savannah in the double standard of having standards and recently, and I am not the target audience. I have responded to Savannah. So, I've seen her before. I wanted to listen to what Savannah had to say. I listened to her video on her sexuality. Now, okay, I want to see the comment section. I scrolled down the comment section. Viewer, I am not making this up. This is true shit. I scroll down the comment section, viewer, and I see Hannah Winton has written a comment. Do you know what the comment says? The comment says, great video. I tend to identify as heterosexual.
Heteronormativity is always seeing a man and a woman together in the media, in TV shows, films, adverts, YouTube videos. It's also apparent in the way we talk about sex. The way that sex is defined by most people is penis in vagina, but actually there's loads of different types of sex that involve penises, vaginas, anus, mouths, other stuff.
This may be true, Miss Winton, but I have a very serious question to ask you. And I do not ask this question facetiously, nor sarcastically, but as genuinely as I can possibly ask. Miss Winton, can you come with child by having sex any other way than with a man and a woman? Because if the answer is no, then you're about to find out why no one gives a shit, and why no one considers that to be sex. And although that's wrong, there are people who consider anal sex to be sex, but you can't come with child when you have anal sex, so that's why people don't think too much about it, other than when they want to feel good.
Just because a vagina isn't penetrated by a penis, it doesn't mean that it doesn't count as sex.
Really referring to sex as a process of reproduction, then yeah, it does. And since heterosexual people, I don't know, make other people, maybe you can begin to understand why people don't hold anal sex in the same regard as heterosexual penis into vaginal sex. Sorry, I don't care how you feel about that, but when you can make new people versus just feeling good, I'm sorry, I'm putting a man and a woman above anything else. Sorry.
It's still sex. So this has just been a basic introduction to heteronormativity, and I want it to start a little project. Basically, whenever you see an example of heteronormativity, take a picture of it.
Whatever, I'm done. I can't take this anymore, man. You know, here's the thing, man. I understand the desire to not want to make these people, and by these people, I don't mean to refer to homosexuals as others, but I mean, let's be real. You are the vast majority in any civilization or population ever. I'm sorry. I am sorry. That's just reality. And I work in reality. So I'm not going to sit here and make a damn video saying that being gay is just as normal when I know damn straight it's not. And see, this is why these people are misguided. They're over here trying to make people feel good about themselves instead of having people deal with the reality of the world and making their lives better with actual strategies and solutions. And this is why this video irked me so much. Hannah is genuinely asking us. She is asking her viewers to look at objective reality, to see that 97% of human beings that have existed, that currently exist, and will exist. She's asking us to look at that sample and then ask people if they're fucking heterosexual or gay. Seriously, when was the last time you spit game at a woman like, excuse me ma'am, just to be clear, you like men, right? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. When was the last time a woman came up to a man and was like, are you gay? No? Okay, all right, let's okay, we broke the ice. Let's get, come on, man. Come on. That's not how normal people interact with each other, and it's absurd to even try to get people to question whether or not the person they meet is a man or a woman or is gay or straight until they tell you, yes, I'm sorry if you're gay, but the vast majority of people are straight. So you're going to have to deal with the fact that people are going to think you're straight until you set them straight. Sorry. That's just the way it is. So that being said, man, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.